You spoke of the CDR process. Is it your commitment to the banks that you will pay back between 1,500 to 2,000 crores in the next 2 years?
No.
Where are you? Because I think your moratorium is now over.
We could not pay back the money.
Yeah.
3,200 crores. We could not pay back the money in the 3 years that they were due.
Yes.
That is why we chose the corporate debt restructuring, which we get 10 years to pay. Our objective is to get out of the CDR much faster.
Okay.
And therefore, we are going to pay them within certain reasonable bounds, because even after going into CDR, the rough weather in the country had not stopped, abated. It had in fact increased.
So you've done 2 years in CDR. So you have now 8 years to pay back the amount, if I've understood that correctly? 8 years to pay back over 3,000 crores, 3,500 crores roughly. Right. So you hope to do that maybe in the next 2 to 3 years?
Not full of it. We don't need to pay the full amount.
No, I understand that.
But as long as you get into a debt equity ratio, that's okay.
Yeah, also you need to bring down your interest costs, right? So you intend to pay back between 1,500 to 2,000 in the next 2 years?
If we can maintain our margins at whatever we have done like this year, and we bring down our interest costs by about 150 to 200 crores, we become a highly profitable
No, I get that. So your intention is to try and pay back between 1,500 to 2,000 crores over the next 2 years? Your hope is?
We want to.
You want to. All right, I get that.
But about 1,500 crores, we want to. Let's see if we can do that.
Much of that will come from asset monetization or
part
asset
of
sales.
it from asset monetization and part of it from claims that will come.
Okay, now in asset sales, what is it that you're looking at to be able to sell?
As I told you, we have got some
infrastructure projects under HCC infrastructure.
So 247 Park, the building we sit in, we own some of 25%. There's another land piece that we had from our own slums. That is one. Plus some of our infrastructure road concession projects.
Right.
So based on this, if we sell all this, we should be able to get about 500 to 700, 800.
That's the agenda for this year?
500 is for this year. Yes.
500 is for this year.
Yeah.
And that includes selling the land for 24/7, which is your industry.
Selling a few, as I told you, not one. We have a company called Panchakutir, which is it's a kind of land development for the slums that we had on our own land.
Right.
So that we want to hive out, as well as selling our 247 Park and selling 2 of our big concession projects.
Okay. Your HCC infrastructure projects, 3 or 4 of them, you seem to have made a commitment to NHAI that you will not transfer ownership. Can you therefore sell any of these road concession projects? Because that was the doubt I had based on the information I read.
No. This is not a commitment we made. That's the standard conditions.
I know, which is what I'm saying. Does it preclude you from being able to
first of all,
sell or monetize
some
those
of them can be bought by an existing partner, so that does not require their permission. Second is that they would give such a permission.
Who is that existing partner that you might sell it to?
Well, Sadbhav is one of our district.
Okay.
And then the company you are selling it to, if it is acceptable to NHAI, you can do that.
Okay. So which one of these projects do you...
I can't say which one, but we will sell to 2-3 of these
So asset sales worth about 500 crores is what we can expect in this financial year, which is FY15.
Another 300-400 crores next year.
Okay, fine. And then you're hoping that the claims will come through.
Claims will also come.
Okay. A couple of other ways of being able to raise money, is, for instance, HCC infrastructure, either bringing in an outside investor into it or trying to take it public. 2009, when we spoke, I think you had maybe anticipated that you might consider that kind of option in 2014. Is this still on your table?
I think we are talking too early for these things.
Why is that?
The mess. The economic collapse, repair has just begun. So when you talk of bringing in money by suddenly going public, is not so simple. So I don't think anybody will easily go to public in the next 1 year or so. However, we do think that we can raise money, not in HCC infrastructure just now, but that we have to wait and see how the government would look at the infrastructure concessions. There are lots of things. Everybody began their infrastructure projects with great enthusiasm, getting into a new kind of business, opened up in India for the first time. However, there have been a number of problems that create viability issues in it. Apart from the usual ones, where there is no land available, no environment clearance, so there is a delay. Then the economic collapse also created its own problems of toll collections dropping, the whole thing. Then there are other built-in flaws in the concession agreements.
Okay.
For example, the total project cost which the NHAI makes and what the cost that you bid at and what the lenders accept, is a wide gap.
Okay.
This gap has to be guaranteed by the sponsor, which is never the case in a project finance project like concession projects anywhere in the world.
So you're giving me reasons for why you think HCC
No, please, one moment.
Okay, sorry.
Till such time the environment in this area improves, the money coming into concession business will be less, and therefore finding and raising money in a big way at good premiums would be limited.
Okay, fair enough.
So I think we will not look at that immediately, but we will see. We want to raise money in Lavasa. There are different possibilities.
From whom and how much?
No. How much? We want to raise about 750 to 1,000 crores of rupees.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is one thing for sure. But how to raise it? Some form of equity or some kind of transaction, whatever it.
Private equity of sorts?
Private equity, structured deal, even a possibility of a public offering, every possibility. We will look at all such possibilities.
Are you already in the process of looking at it, or you're going to start now?
No, we're already in the process.
I'm just asking what the timeline. So you hope to conclude something within the next 6 months to a year?
We want to get it as soon as we can. That's all I can say. That is one. Then we can also perhaps at some stage find some quick way of dealing with the issues of raising some money in HCC as well.
So you have provision. You've taken provisional permission from your shareholders to raise up to about 1,000 crores via whatever instrument you pick. Any immediate plans of being able to raise some money?
Nothing immediate. I'm just saying this is our intention. We know we are cash. We need to improve our cash flows. As I said, we are doing on the side cost cut and making sure we now henceforth do our projects in a manner that we don't allow claims to arise, and when they come, to settle them quickly. The second is chase our claims on the other side, monetize some assets to pay back, try to get the money from the claims as fast as possible, raise some money in the market so both the companies are short, and that's how we are looking at this next year.
Is Lavasa now litigation free? Or anywhere close to it? Or will it ever be?
No company or project in this country can ever be litigation free at all. But what we are saying is litigation that does not hamper our work.
So Lavasa is now back on track in terms of
okay.
building out and
operating. Since you ask, yes, we are back in track on building, etc. We took some more time to put together our financing, and that's why we want to raise more finance so we can go ahead with when the rainy season is over, full speed ahead with the construction of the project in their phases of Town 1, Town 2, Town 3, etc. So that's how we would like to go forward. And for that, we want to now, what do you call it, shore up the funding of all these companies in a manner that it keeps our interest burden low on one side, as well as has sufficient money to make the rapid progress that we want to make.
I understand that this is a long-haul process and that nothing can be expected from any government, you know, in terms of an accomplishment or an achievement in a month or 2 months.
Absolutely.
But we have an upcoming budget. So I'm going to ask you if there's one thing you would like the government to do in that budget for infrastructure and construction, what would that be?
For infrastructure and construction, first is this budget actually can't order the payment of things, but what it can do is two things. One is show the fiscal discipline that is necessary for people to be assured that government will have the money to do development expenditure in the country.
Okay.
The second is give a very clear signal that it wants to create and will create an environment in which investment can happen easily and there is ease of doing business in the country. These two signals on one side and a fiscal discipline on the other side will create in this budget the faith that this government means business, and therefore people can start dreaming again that they can expand their companies, they can take risks in putting up capital expenditure. However, that will depend upon the demand situation also. But basically, the fear that investment, should I invest here or not, should be taken away. And I think I would like to see that in the budget.
All right, Mr. Gulabchand. Appreciate you finding the time to speak with us. Thank you very much for being with us today.